I have a twin sister. She murdered me in 2 previous lives. In my first life, she was determined to seduce a wealthy heiress's boyfriend. When I kindly tried to dissuade her, she berated me, accusing me of trying to break them up. In a fit of rage, she stabbed me repeatedly. In my second life, I stood idly by. But when the heiress came seeking revenge, my sister pushed me out the door. I became her scapegoat, tortured to death, with no remains left behind. Reborn yet again, I took a knife and disfigured my own face. Watching my sister act as frivolous and arrogant as she had in my previous 2 lives, I no longer try to stop her. Joylyn, just because you were born a few minutes before me doesn't give you the right to act like my older sister and try to discipline me. I think you're just worried I'll snag the heiress's second-generation rich boyfriend and become successful. You're just jealous. My sister, Vivian Lynn, curled her lips in disdain. Jason was going to ask me out to dinner today, but you pulled me away, making me miss a golden opportunity. I'm telling Mom when I get home. Hearing Vivian's words, I realized I had been reborn at this crucial moment. Jason was the wealthy, second-generation rich boyfriend of the school beauty heiress, as my sister described. My sister and I were both beautiful, but Vivian's impressive piano skills attracted Jason's attention even more. Unlike my previous life, I didn't argue. I simply allowed my sister, Vivian Lynn, to revel in her smugness. Unsurprisingly, Vivian, who was spoiled rotten at home, immediately complained. My mother angrily ordered me to kneel. Joylyn, you only have yourself to blame for being so useless. Don't you dare hinder your sister's path to success. I gave you that beautiful face, and all you do is sulk around with a sour expression. Dad beamed as he embraced my younger sister, Vivian Lynn. And you call yourself the older sister? Huh. You never think about helping me, the head of this family. If you could just get involved with the Chambers family, the resources, I could get promoted several times a week. Worthless child. I gave birth to twins. So how is it that your sister is sweet, charming, and ambitious, while you're just a useless bookworm? Listening to my biological parents' constant nagging, I felt nothing at all. I, who consistently ranked first in my major and used my scholarships to support the family, was dismissed as a mere bookworm. My sister, Vivian Lynn, looked down at me arrogantly, her hands clasped in front of her. Joylyn, in the future, stay out of my affairs. Just do your job. I've invited Jason to tomorrow's talent show, so you better play well for me. The thought made me sneer. So-called twins. I'm nothing more than Vivian Lynn's tool. All of Vivian Lynn's glorious achievements should have been mine. Seeing my silence, Mom slapped me across the face. Your sister is talking to you. Are you mute or something? I frowned, a nameless anger welling up inside me. Didn't she say she didn't want me meddling in her affairs? If she wants to seduce him, she can do it herself. Slap. Mom slapped me again. I paid extra to send you to learn the piano back then. Luckily, you play well enough to assist your sister. Otherwise, I'd break your legs. You ruined your sister's date with the Chambers family's eldest son today, and you still dare to talk back. If it weren't for your performance tomorrow, I'd beat you to death, you worthless thing. My sister smirked, watching me get slapped twice in quick succession. She threw a dress at me. This dress is expensive. You should be grateful. I'm even letting you wear it. I scoffed. If you're so capable, you do it yourself. My words struck a nerve. Jason was only interested in her because she played the piano so well. In past lives, I believed that if I simply fulfilled my role of helping my sister, my parents would finally treat me with kindness. But all I received in return was cold indifference and cruelty from my family. As the older sister, I once wholeheartedly tried to protect her, worried she'd be tempted and blinded. My earnest advice was repaid with the death of 1,000 cuts. With that in mind, I decided this time, I won't help my sister again, nor will I crave the family warmth that isn't mine to begin with. The next day, during the long break, I deliberately sprained my ankle in front of my classmates. The evening was the talent show, and my sister was frantic when she heard I'd sprained my ankle. She rushed to the infirmary and, seeing the school doctor bandaging my ankle, flew into a rage. She strode right up to me. Joylyn, are you doing this on purpose? I spread my hands innocently. Sister, don't be ridiculous. A sprained ankle is a sudden thing. I can't control it. It looks like tonight's gala performance. Medical staff were present, and my sister hurried forward to cover my mouth. She lowered her head and whispered in my ear, "Are you crazy? If you say that now, Everyone will know I wasn't the one who played the piano earlier. My piano playing was once so good that I received an invitation from the National Symphony Orchestra, but because of my sister's jealous remark, Mother immediately refused the invitation on my behalf. Becoming an accomplished pianist has always been my dream, but my biological parents nipped my dream in the bud, warning me that my birth was solely to pave the way for my sister's success. Just then, Jason, the school heartthrob, came after her, concerned by my sister's sudden departure. Seeing this, my sister glared at me, hissing, "If you dare say a word, I'll rip your mouth off." Then, turning to Jason, her eyes filled with tears, she said anxiously, "I'm so sorry, Jason." My sister twisted her ankle, and I was so worried that I rushed over here. Jason wiped away her tears. "Don't cry. You have a performance tonight, and you won't look good on camera if your eyes are swollen." Hearing this, my sister's eyes drifted to me, unfocused. I didn't interact much with Jason Chambers. I only knew he was the current boyfriend of the heiress and school beauty who was away in the United States as an exchange student. It was precisely because of their long-distance relationship that my sister had the opportunity to succeed. "You must be Vivian Lynn's older sister. You two look so much alike." I couldn't help but tremble. In previous lives, because I looked like my sister, I was repeatedly used as a shield. Even though I knew Vivian was the one who had cheated, Jason would always protect her, lying to redirect the returning heiress's anger onto me. In short, Jason Chambers wasn't a good person either. The next day at school, I went to the infirmary, using the excuse that I had lost a valuable piece of jewelry the day before and needed to retrieve the surveillance footage. I found the segment featuring Vivian Lynn and me. Afterward, I passed by a small grove on my way to the registrar's office. Familiar sounds drifted from the grove. It was my sister, Vivian Lynn. "Jason, didn't you say you weren't satisfied with yesterday's piano performance and wanted me to make it up to you? Then let me make it up to you properly today." My sister's voice was both familiar and foreign, and the explicit conversation that followed nearly made me throw up. In my previous life, this video of them having sex in the open was posted on the campus forum, eventually reaching the school beauty heiress in the United States, who flew back overnight. At the time, I didn't know who had taken the video. Now, I looked around and saw someone hiding in the bushes to the side. I clapped my hand over his mouth, and he panicked. "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. But you have to help me with something." After resolving that issue, I quickly headed to the school affairs office. Because we lived nearby, my sister Vivian Lynn and I had always been day students. Now, I just wanted to escape that suffocating family. I applied for dormitory accommodation. My sister's family was overjoyed to hear that I would be living at school. Good riddance. One less mouth to feed. "We won't give you a single penny for your room and board or living expenses. We're saving our money to buy clothes for your sister. Only if your sister is well-dressed and well-fed will she have a chance to snag a wealthy husband. Then our Lynn family will finally prosper." My parents' actions were exactly as I expected. Fortunately, I had always been a saver. I secretly set aside a good amount of money from the awards I won for previous performances. Back in the dorm, my roommates were chattering excitedly. "Wow, she truly lives up to her title as school beauty. She won an international piano award this time." I glanced at my roommate's phone screen, which displayed Claire Chow's social media profile. I secretly took note of it, and in the middle of the night, I sent her a private message on social media. I sent her the evidence I'd obtained from that person, proving Jason Chambers and my sister, Vivian Lynn, were having an affair. The next day, a video of Jason Chambers and my sister, Vivian Lynn, having sex in the woods went viral. Furthermore, Jason Chambers' family background made the scandal even harder to contain. Oh my god. Isn't Jason Chambers dating the school beauty? Did he just cheat on her?
Damn.
Isn't that the girl who's called the little school beauty? Seriously, does she think she's the real school beauty now? This is outrageous. I heard the school beauty's IP address has been constantly changing today. Looks like she's back for revenge. Scumbag and slut. Come out and face the consequences. Jason Chambers, who was so concerned with his reputation, immediately thrust his younger sister, Vivian Lynn, into the center of public scrutiny. He issued a public apology on social media, filled with lamentations for the heiress and school beauty, Claire Chow. He claimed that had his younger sister, Vivian Lynn, not deliberately seduced him, he wouldn't have been misled into mistaking Vivian for Claire. This explanation lacked all credibility, but Jason Chambers had the capital to ensure that all the blame shifted onto his younger sister, Vivian Lynn. I made a special trip home and hid outside her door, listening to my younger sister, Vivian Lynn, crying and smashing things. I felt immense satisfaction. It must have been my sister. It had to be her. I saw someone who looked just like her at the time. That beast. If she comes back, I'll beat her to death. Mom and Dad kept calling me, but I not only refused to answer, I hung up on them. This infuriated the three people inside even more. Mom and Dad, my sister has ruined my reputation. How can I ever face anyone again? I don't want to live anymore. If that heiress comes back for revenge, she'll probably toy with me until I'm dead. Immediately after, there was the sound of someone hitting a wall, followed by Mom and Dad's distressed screams. Oh, my precious darling. Doesn't your sister have the same face as you? Let your sister take the fall. Really? Hearing this, I chuckled to myself. But Mom, my sister has a scar on her face. I don't. My sister must have done it on purpose. No wonder she suddenly has a scar. She must have foreseen this day. He wasn't entirely stupid. Damn it. If I didn't need her to take the blame, I wouldn't have disfigured my own face. The moment the words were spoken, the sound of a noisy crowd erupted from the corridor. Leading the charge was a girl with an extraordinary air, already seething with rage, followed by a constantly pleading Jason Chambers. Claire Chow kicked him away and furiously pounded on the door. Get out here, you mistress. True to her heiress status, Claire Chow brought a spectacle this time to save face. She brought a throng of reporters. Seeing such a scene, Vivian Lynn and her parents must have been scared witless. When the door remained unopened and Claire Chow was about to force her way in, I emerged. I have the key, I said. Upon seeing my face, the reporters' cameras flashed and clicked wildly. Damn, is that the mistress? What are you thinking? Would a mistress be this calm? What if she's faking it? Who knows? Look, even Miss Chow hasn't said a word. Claire Chow frowned at me as I unlocked the front door under her watchful gaze. When I opened the door, my parents erupted in curses. Joy Lynn, are you trying to ruin our entire family? I'm not the mistress, so what do I have to fear? Hiding behind our parents, Vivian Lynn's face was streaked with tears, having inflicted a nearly identical wound on my face in the same spot. Faced with twins bearing matching scars in the same location, everyone was momentarily perplexed. Are these two twins? Which one is the mistress? At these words, Vivian Lynn suddenly stepped forward, righteously indignant, her eyes brimming with tears. Sister, you have truly disappointed our family. Mom and Dad worked so hard to raise you, providing you with an education. How could you do something like this? Exactly. Having a daughter like you is a disgrace to our family's reputation. Hurry up and apologize to the Chow family heiress. Seeing the same situation as in my previous life, I sneered. I was naive to think it would be simple. I didn't expect Vivian Lynn to disfigure her own face to avoid being identified by the surveillance cameras. I stared at my sister, Vivian Lynn, and said, Are you accusing me first? What evidence do you have to prove it was me? Vivian Lynn was taken aback by my question. Pointing at the campus heartthrob, Jason Chambers, she said, Ask him. Isn't he the one involved? Would he mistake me? Jason Chambers pointed at me without hesitation. What are you pretending for, you bitch? You were so eager to seduce me back then. Did you think playing the piano would make you Claire Chow's replacement? The moment he spoke, the reporters shoved their cameras in my face. Everyone looked closely. This is a mistress. She's brazenly trying to ruin Miss Chow's relationship. Disgusting. She's just trying to climb this social ladder. Does she really think charming Mr. Chambers with her piano playing entitles her to steal Claire Chow's place? Hearing their hushed discussions, I raised an eyebrow. Speaking of the piano, I unwrapped the bandage on my ankle, the injury worsened by my mother's merciless twist, making it all the more obvious. Miss Chow, the girl your boyfriend is cheating with, plays the piano quite well. She even performed at the school's talent show recently. You're an expert. You can tell at a glance from the video that the person on stage wasn't me at all. Seeing that I dared to speak the truth, my sister Vivian Lynn preemptively made a false accusation against me. What you all don't know is that my sister was originally supposed to perform in that competition, but she sprained her ankle. To keep Jason Chambers interested in her, I had no choice but to take her place on stage. My piano skills aren't as good as hers, as you can all see from the video. Hearing this only fueled their anger towards me. Great. I almost fell for that bitch's injury. Still playing the victim? Why didn't you think about today when you were a homewrecker? After hearing my sister Vivian Lynn's words, I applauded. Quite the contrary. I admit that I participated in the previous performance, but you know best why I did. Everyone knows who was trying to seduce Jason Chambers. With that, I pulled out the surveillance video from the school infirmary. Wasn't someone anxiously trying to get me to help them put on a performance in the school infirmary? Besides, everyone saw who Jason Chambers followed in after, right? You, my sister, Vivian Lynn, stared wide-eyed. I sneered and then produced the footage of my sister throwing a tantrum at home after that performance. Some people are the apple of their family's eye, refusing to reflect on their own mistakes, preferring to push the blame onto others and bullying their siblings, all while relying on their parents' love. Isn't that right, Vivian Lynn? Besides, what if Jason Chambers is colluding with you to deceive Miss Chow? Who would know? I don't want to be a fall guy for nothing. Now that I had evidence, and my sister, Vivian Lynn, had nothing but empty words, everyone's attitude softened. I had underestimated my parents' tolerance for my sister, Vivian Lynn. They actually started shamelessly feigning concern for me. Baby, your parents usually dote on you, but this is a serious matter. We can't condone this anymore. Your sister always covers for you, but this mistress behavior is beyond the pale. Mom and Dad have spoiled you rotten. Watching Mom and Dad put on a tearful performance, pretending I was the favored child, I burst out laughing. How long are you going to keep protecting her? If I'm the favored child, then what about these scars on my back? With that, I took off my coat, revealing the dense network of whip scars on my back. The people present gasped. My younger sister, Vivian Lynn, was utterly shameless. She sobbed, "Sister, how could you inflict such harm upon yourself just to frame me?" I sneered. Framing you? Fine, the video evidence isn't enough, huh? Well, coincidentally, I've brought the eyewitness who saw you two in the act. That person is the one who secretly filmed my younger sister, Vivian Lynn, and Jason Chambers in their illicit affair. I saw it with my own eyes. As luck would have it, this person is Claire Chow's fellow disciple. Even if I hadn't messaged Claire Chow privately, her senior colleague would have told her. In that moment, the evidence and witnesses were irrefutable. My sister, Vivian Lynn, panicked.
No.
You must have hired someone to impersonate her.
Claire Chow.
Miss Chow, don't let this viper deceive you. Claire Chow, who hadn't spoken until now, suddenly kicked my sister, Vivian Lynn, away. A viper? How dare you call her a viper? She's my long-lost biological sister. Claire Chow's words stunned everyone present, except for me. That time, when I used social media to send Claire Chow the video of my sister Vivian Lynn and Jason Chambers' affair, she grabbed my social media profile picture. The profile picture was a photo of me as a child holding half of a jade pendant. Claire Chow said she had the other half of that jade pendant. When she told me that I was her long-lost biological sister, I was shocked. How could this be? My sister Vivian Lynn and I look exactly the same. But it was this suspicion that prompted Claire Chow to have me investigated. This investigation uncovered a terrifying truth. I was stolen by Vivian Lynn's parents. In my teens, they had me undergo plastic surgery to make me look exactly like my sister Vivian Lynn. Afterwards, they drugged me to damage my memory, blurring my recollections to the point where I couldn't ever remember experiencing such a thing. Claire Chow booked a flight back overnight and had a paternity test done, which confirmed the truth. I am the Lynn family's second daughter, lost for many years. After the test, I returned to Vivian Lynn's residence and sent the address to Claire Chow. Claire Chow saw everything that had just happened as nothing more than a clown show. Conversely, the ordeal I revealed evoked both pity and anger in Claire Chow. How could you treat my sister like that? Seeing the truth exposed, Vivian Lynn's parents dropped to their knees with a thud. Oh, dear. We were deluded. We were temporarily blinded by greed. We didn't realize she was a child of the Chow family. It's just that Vivian and I were in the same intensive care unit at the time. My wife was originally pregnant with twins, but one died before birth. I only wanted to fulfill my wife's wish. Hearing their absurd explanation, I was so enraged that I laughed. My sister, Claire Chow, was even more furious. Even if the child isn't from the Chow family, the act of stealing a child is a heinous crime. You fulfilled your wish, but what about the family who lost their child? Claire Chow's anger ignited the reporters of the scene, who joined in with their condemnations. People who steal children deserve to be drowned in pig cages. Oh my God. They were supposed to live a happy life, but they were stolen, mistreated, and beaten like this. They don't care about children who aren't their own. Mom and Dad were cruel to me, and I couldn't help but wonder if I was even their biological child. But a face so similar to my sister Vivian Lynn's repeatedly disproved my assumptions. Claire Chow sneered. You weren't fulfilling your own wishes at all. You stole something and didn't treat it well? You beat and scolded her simply because she wasn't your biological child. You were clearly raising a useful servant for your own biological daughter.
A tool.
A slave, less than a dog. Every time I recall the scenes from my previous life, my eyes sting with tears. For so many years, I thought that studying hard, working part-time, and helping my family financially would earn me my parents' love. Yet they stole my scholarship and gave it to Vivian Lynn to squander, buying her new clothes constantly, while ignoring my own threadbare high school uniform. What college student still wears a faded, worn-out high school uniform to university? My sister, Claire Chow, even cried upon seeing me for the first time. I'd been this close to her all along, and yet she didn't recognize me. If I hadn't proactively sought her out this time, and if she hadn't bothered to check my social background, I might never have been able to return to my true family. I'm going to tell my parents that you stole my sister. Actually, never mind, these reporters are live streaming everything, so I imagine my parents have already seen it and are on their way. You. Vivian Lynn's voice was laced with anger. My parents will handle this. As for who exactly cheated on me, Jason Chambers, I'm giving you one last chance. Jason Chambers' family background was decent, but still inferior to the Chow families. Jason was incredibly fortunate to be dating Claire Chow. If he played his cards right, he could even marry into the family. But Jason Chambers was dishonest. A man who couldn't control himself deserved to be beaten to death. Jason was already terrified. My true identity as the Chow family's second daughter made his confident accusations against me sound like a complete joke. Now, the parents of the person she cheated with were the very criminals who had robbed the Chow family of their second daughter. Jason Chambers ignored Vivian Lynn's desperate pleas and pointed at her, his face contorted with anger. It's her, that bitch. She even threatened me, demanding I protect her. Claire, I didn't even know Joy Lynn was your sister. Claire, you have to let me explain. Claire Chow, her older sister, had already lost all hope the moment he began defending Vivian Lynn. Oblivious to the gravity of the situation, Vivian Lynn continued to shake her head, clutching at Jason Chambers' clothes. How could you do this? If you hadn't reacted to my advances, how could I have continued to seduce you? Now you're blaming everything on me. You promised me that once you married Claire Chow and inherited her family's fortune, you'd kick her to the curb and marry me. You said all of that.
Ah.
Jason Chambers raised his hand and landed a heavy punch on Vivian Lynn's face. The wounds on her face, still fresh and not fully healed, burst open, causing blood to gush out. With her disheveled hair and wretched appearance on the ground, she looked frightening. And Jason Chambers couldn't have cared less. Vivian Lynn, adopting a nothing-to-lose attitude, said those words, clearly intending to make Jason Chambers offend her sister, Claire Chow. Jason Chambers was already terrified. His family background was a mess, and his attempts to climb the social ladder through Claire Chow were quickly unraveling. Jason Chambers' father had 2 wives. The first wife bore Jason's older brother, and the second wife bore Jason. To establish himself within the family and secure an inheritance, Jason had tried everything to get into a relationship with Claire Chow. He thought things were going his way. While his sister, Claire Chow, was abroad, he had some fun with ordinary girls. But unexpectedly, this fun became his downfall. Jason Chambers' father wouldn't risk offending Claire Chow's family. He'd simply sacrifice Jason as a pawn. The fate of a discarded pawn is invariably tragic. Knowing this, Jason clung to Claire Chow's leg, weeping and pleading. Claire, please listen to me, Claire. I was out of my mind. I deserve to die. As he spoke, Jason slapped himself repeatedly. He slapped his face until it was red and swollen, but Claire Chow didn't even spare him a glance. My sister, Claire Chow, turned to me, her angry expression now replaced with pity. Joy, come here and slap him. My eyes widened in disbelief. Could this be real? I rolled up my sleeves and slapped Jason Chambers across the face, without hesitation. That's for framing me. And that's for cheating on my sister. What status do you even have? How dare you bark like a dog? True to her heiress status, Claire Chow brought a spectacle this time to save face. She brought a throng of reporters. Seeing such a scene, Vivian Lynn and her parents must have been scared witless. Seeing that the door remained unopened and Claire Chow was about to force her way in, I emerged. I have the key. Seeing my face, the reporter's cameras flashed and clicked wildly. Damn, is that the mistress? What do you think? Would a mistress be this calm? What if she's faking it? Who knows? Look, even Miss Chow hasn't said a word. Claire Chow frowned at me as I unlocked the front door under her watchful gaze. When I opened the door, Mom and Dad erupted in curses. Joy Lin, are you trying to ruin our entire family? I'm not the mistress, so what do I have to fear? Hiding behind our parents, Vivian Lin's face was streaked with tears, having inflicted a nearly identical wound on my face in the same spot. Faced with twins bearing matching scars in the same location, everyone paused, confused. Are these two twins? Which one is the mistress? At these words, Vivian Lin suddenly stepped forward, righteously indignant, eyes brimming with tears. Sister, you've truly disappointed our family. Mom and Dad worked so hard to raise you, providing you with an education. How could you do this? Exactly. Having a daughter like you is a disgrace to our family's reputation. Hurry up and apologize to the Chow family heiress. Seeing this familiar situation unfold, I sneered. I'd been naive to think it would be simple. I never expected Vivian Lin to go as far as disfiguring her own face to avoid being identified by the surveillance cameras. I stared at my sister, Vivian Lin, and asked, "Are you accusing me first? What evidence do you have to prove it was me?" Vivian Lin was taken aback by my question. Pointing at the campus heartthrob, Jason Chambers, she said, "Ask him. Isn't he the one involved? Would he mistake me?" Jason Chambers immediately pointed at me. "What are you pretending for, you bitch? You were so eager to seduce me back then. Did you think playing the piano would make you Claire Chow's replacement?" At his words, the reporters shoved their cameras in my face. "Look closely. This is a mistress. She's trying to ruin Miss Chow's relationship. Disgusting. She's climbing the social ladder. Does she really think that charming Mr. Chambers with her piano playing entitles her to take Claire Chow's place?" Hearing their whispered comments, I raised an eyebrow. Speaking of the piano, I unwrapped the bandage on my ankle, the injury worsened by my mother's merciless twist, making it more obvious. Miss Chow, the girl your boyfriend is cheating with, plays the piano quite well. She even performed at the school's talent show recently. You're an expert. You can tell from the video that the person on stage wasn't me at all. Seeing I was bold enough to speak the truth, my sister Vivian Lin preemptively made a false accusation against me. What you don't know is that my sister was supposed to perform in that competition, but she sprained her ankle. To keep Jason Chambers interested, I had no choice but to take her place on stage. My piano skills aren't as good as hers, as you can see from the video. This only fueled the anger directed at me. Great. I almost fell for that bitch's injury. Still playing the victim? Why didn't you think about today when you were a homewrecker? Hearing my sister's words, I applauded sarcastically. Quite the contrary. I admit that I participated in the performance, but you know best why I did it. Everyone knows who is trying to seduce Jason Chambers. With that, I pulled out the surveillance video from the school infirmary. Wasn't someone anxiously trying to get me to help them put on a performance in the school infirmary? Besides, everyone saw who Jason Chambers followed in after, right? You. My sister, Vivian Lin, froze. I sneered and then produced the footage of my sister throwing a tantrum at home after that performance. Some people are the apple of their family's eye, refusing to reflect on their own mistakes, preferring to push the blame onto others and bullying their siblings, all while relying on their parents' love. Isn't that right, Vivian Lin? Besides, what if Jason Chambers is colluding with you to deceive Miss Chow? Who knows? I don't want to be a fall guy for nothing. Now that I had the evidence and my sister, Vivian Lin, had nothing but empty words, the crowd's attitude shifted. The truth had been revealed, and the tide was turning in my favor.